Hello, my name is Malik J. Akbar. I'm a licensed mental health therapist. I'm the CEO, owner, and lead therapist for BHAD Counseling LLC, which is my own solo private practice here in Orlando, Florida. And within my private practice, I see individuals, I see families, and I see couples. I am licensed both here in the state of Florida as well as the state of Maryland. And if you're interested in booking a session with me and you're looking to get into therapy, please go over to Growth Therapy and look up my name. As you can see right here at the bottom, you can find me on Growth Therapy's platform and book a session. And I'd love to be a part of your journey. I would like to speak to my couples out there. This session is strictly for you because many times what I realize now, even in my life and thinking about relationships I've had in the past, I have to I have to stress how important empathy is in a relationship. It's three things I'm going to talk about with you, but first and foremost, I'm going to talk about empathy. And when I'm talking about empathy, I'm going to show a particular slide to you. And in this slide, it's going to pretty much capture what I believe happens a lot in relationships. I'm going to pause this because I'm going to explain the whole point of mom putting on the baby's shoe here. Imagine you as an adult, you're going to switch this. Excuse me. All right, there I go. Imagine, as an adult attempting to put on a pair of shoes that you yourself, you know good and well, you don't fit those shoes. Imagine dad or even mom or big brother or sister trying to put on the toddler shoes right there in that image right there. It's not going to happen. It's not going to fit. The shoe is not going to fit the foot. The shoe can only foot, I mean, shoe can only foot. The shoe can only fit the toddler's foot. Simple as that. And imagine, I'm going to let this play out. Imagine trying to put on that baby shoe, that toddler shoe. It's impossible. It's not going to happen. And you, the individual, can only find yourself getting more and more frustrated in the event that you do try to put on that toddler shoe. Whether it's dad, mom, big brother, big sister, doesn't matter. That shoe is meant for the toddler's foot. Okay. Not going to beat that to death. But the point I'm making, as far as it pertaining to a couple, many couples fail possibly on many different levels, but in particular, when it comes to understanding empathy for one another, empathy for the experience of the other partner. And what does that require? Reason I use that particular example because you have to learn to put yourself in your partner's shoes. And if you don't, if you choose not to, it'll be your own undoing in your relationship. To be empathetic means to look at someone else's experiences, not necessarily to the extent that you allow a transfer of energy now and you're willing to feel as bad as they felt. No, it only means that you understand that this adult that you've chosen to pair yourself with comes with their own share of trauma. It comes with their own share of heartache, scars, memories, behaviors, habits, attitudes. Certain decisions are made because of past experiences that were never resolved. And unresolved issues in any situation can only be problematic in the future for you if you do not resolve those issues. Now, generally, as with most adults, what do? We compartmentalize, we take information and we just stuff it in the back of our minds. I often compare compartmentalization as, better yet, listen to this. I'm sure most of you seen those horror films where you see this big old mansion like The Shining, for instance, and all of these rooms are in this mansion. And in this mansion or big house or whatnot in the movie, there's always this one particular room that's in the back, and nobody goes in the room. But then you got the pretty much the protagonist of the movie that goes into that room because they want to know what's going on, what is hidden in the house, why is everyone acting strange. So they find a way into that room that nobody seems to want to open. And once they enter the room, mirrors are covered, mannequins are covered, clothes are covered, heirlooms are covered, everything's covered up. So what do? They go and uncover it just to see what's being hidden. That is how the human mind works, in particular as we grow into adulthood. And it happens for many different reasons. Maybe no one cared to listen when you were younger. Maybe you felt you didn't have a voice. Maybe you felt it just wasn't a point. You felt no connection to anyone around you to share and dig deep. This is what occurs in many relationships where individuals will get into a relationship and they're coasting off of the gas, the fumes of love and infatuation and lust and all those feel good emotions. Your dopamine's high. You're feeling good when you see someone. You feel when you see the person, your person, so to speak. However, over a period of time, because many couples don't allow themselves the time or the space to really discover the individual that they're involved with, they end up finding out that there are some differences between us that we probably should have got more understanding about before we allowed ourselves to get this far down the road. Um, many marriages, many marriages have been dissolved because of that. You know, many marriages have been dissolved because of that. You married somebody and you don't know who in the world you married. So, in those situations, before you choose to uncouple, you may decide to go to couples therapy. And if you do, well, that's the place where you need to have this conversation. It's a safe space to have this conversation. Though some couples don't come to therapy with that in mind. Point is, being empathetic, understanding things about your partner, no matter how hard it may be, goes a long way. And as a matter of fact, I have two other points that I would like to cover about relationships that I believe could be very helpful to any couple, any couple. And the only reason that these things may not be applied properly is because couples often fail to realize that they're at a place where they're irreconcilable. However, what is needed, even if they choose to uncouple, divorce, go their separate ways, in particular, if you have children, it would help to still go to couples therapy because the same issues that you had while you were in your marriage that you couldn't reconcile, that you couldn't communicate, they're still going to exist even when the relationship is over. So co-parenting is going to be a whirlwind. And if you're at a point where you truly, one or the other, just ultimately does not like the other partner, you're in the same space. But it would be great if some form of empathy toward the other partner could be exercised before it gets to that point. And a big part of that is to understand and walk in their shoes. Now, again, as with the example with the video that I earlier put up, if you just catching this or you lost your attention span or whatnot, I understand. But go back to the earlier part of the video where I had the baby in the stroller and mom was putting on the shoes for the baby. You cannot possibly understand your partner from your perspective only. Again, you cannot understand your partner from your perspective only. In order to understand your partner, you have to be willing, and this is where the two other parts of my spiel um, comes into play. You have to be open to fully engaging in someone else's reality. And even from this, that causes you, the individual, to truly take an inventory of how much self knowledge, how much self discovery do you have? Because you may think, oh, at 30 years old, this individual should know enough to behave like an adult should. But if you don't understand their traumas, their background, how they grew up, how it affected them, and you've presented yourself in a way where they feel that they cannot even talk to you and help you understand who they are, where they come from, and why they're the way they are, then tell me, how is it possible for you to have a healthy relationship? Healthy relationship. So if you can't see their point of view, you can't see where they come from, and begin to understand, you may not agree with, and honestly, you may want to split right there. You may just say, hey, look, I didn't sign up for this. I don't want to be a part of this relationship. This is a little bit more than I expected. It's okay. No one owns anyone. And to my couples, no one owns anyone. Some of you all really need to understand that. I'll go on record. At one point in my life, I didn't understand that. I'm just going to be real with you. And there are other factors that contribute to that mentality. Traditional masculinity is one of them, as far as me being a man is concerned. But I digress on that. Not here to debate what your truth may be. However, knowing that no one owns anyone, and knowing that in order for me to understand you, it's going to require me to put my thoughts about what is correct or proper in the situation. In order to grow, you're gonna have to do that. You're gonna have to put your expectations, which definitely I hope that you gravitate to this, you resonate with what I'm speaking on today. If not, I do understand. But bottom line is, my goal is to provide more content in regards to couples, in regards to other subjects as well. However, the whole communication, the whole understanding of your person involves you stepping outside of yourself for a moment if you love them. And you do love them, right? At least that's what many couples say. I love you. I love you. I care about you. Well, if you love me and if you care about me the way you say you do, then understand me. I choose to believe that love is a very high degree of understanding. It's a great degree of understanding, maybe the greatest degree of understanding. Because if you love someone, you'll first consider how you speak to them by first understanding how they would like to be what spoken to. That requires us going outside of ourselves. Now, again, empathy. Empathy is putting yourself in someone else's shoes, understanding or attempting to the best of your ability. And if you don't do it to the best of your ability, please don't do it a few times and be like, okay, I got it. I got it. No, you don't got it. You don't. Why? Did you grow up with them? You just met them so many years ago. And truth be told, most couples are winging it. They don't have proper knowledge of how to conduct themselves or manage a successful relationship. They can't even manage conflict. And it's really no fault of us as individuals. Ooh, excuse me. I'm just being myself. um, but it's no fault of the individual. US culture doesn't train us to have good relationships. It doesn't teach us that those things are important. We grow up looking at the glitter, the pixie dust being spread in front of us, and we feel the butterflies. That's what we go after. We go after the physical. We go after the material. Again, the physical. We draw interest off of what individuals have and what they can produce rather than who they are many times. And that's a deeper conversation altogether. So, moving on to my second point, out of the three, empathy being one. The second one is going to be a non judgmental attitude. As we all know, actions speak what? Louder than words. So it's easy to say, oh, I don't judge you. I put no judgment on you whatsoever. Really? Really? The person that says that more than likely, soon as they say it, 20 minutes, 5 minutes, 2 minutes later, they're passing judgment on someone else. Again, I'm going to charge it to social acclamations. Like many other social acclamations, we go along with the flow and we think that this is proper. We think this is normal. This is the way that you should conduct yourself in a relationship by making snarky, sarcastic remarks about a person's shortcomings. Yeah, shortcomings. When your partner is willing to be vulnerable and share sensitive information with you, and you choose to take those sensitive, intimate moments and use them as and weaponize them pretty much. When you do that, you are you're condemning your relationship. You are condemning your relationship. Vulnerability is a tool for growth. It's a tool for understanding growth. It's a tool for closeness, growth. So don't take your partner's vulnerability and throw it in their face as if it has no meaning, as if it is not going to harm them in some way that is going to keep your relationship solid. So having a non-judgmental attitude is essential. So hopefully, someone out there can understand, especially those who've been in that situation. And as a therapist, I'm going to be very blunt about this. Maybe some of my colleagues will disagree, and I'm open to that. I own no one's opinion, right? We can all agree to disagree. Individuals who have experienced a certain type of pain resonate with certain information much better than those who have no knowledge of what that looks like. So if you've never been in a relationship where you know what it feels like to have a partner who has no empathy, me talking to you about empathy, you may feel it from a different angle, but in a relationship, you may not have any idea of what that looks like. So when a non-judgmental attitude comes against you in a relationship with someone who you've been vulnerable with, you've shared yourself intimately with them, physically, emotionally, psychologically, possibly financially, socially, people are going to look at, oh, that's how they treat their partner. Oh, he or she doesn't have any money. They don't work. Oh my goodness, he talks to her or she talks to him so bad. So it's many factors in having both empathy and a non-judgmental attitude. There's a lot that goes with that. Not to mention, as I said earlier, there's pain attached to that person. You can't you can if you like, but it wouldn't be productive. But you can't judge their healing process based off of what you think is right. You can have an opinion about it. You can share your opinion with your partner, preferably I feel statements. I feel that by this point of your life, you should have worked through that. Great. Never argue with a feeling. However, to my point, you need to understand the shoes that they had to walk in are not shoes that you fit. And if you can keep that in mind, the shoes they walk in are not shoes that you can fit. Only you can fit the shoes that you wear. That's what you're held accountable for, the shoes that you wear. Because I can guarantee you, as with anything in life, you have sunny days, you're going to have some rainy days, some cloudy days. You're going to have a point in your life where you're going to need to be understood. And oftentimes, there are individuals and couples who, rather than leave the relationship and seek the relationship that they probably would be more suited for, because they don't want to face that part of reality. They'll choose to keep the person that they're with and keep them unhappy. But the bottom line is that you're going to need someone one day. But out of guilt, they will go and find someone else who totally has nothing to do with the relationship, someone who they feel is empathetic to them, but they won't talk to their partner because they know they burnt that bridge. So rather than talk to their partner or strive to repair the bridge if it's repairable, they'll go outside the relationship, which causes nothing but what? More problems. So back to my non-judgmental attitude. Having a non-judgmental attitude and not looking at your person, your partner, as being anything other than a human being whose experiences are different than yours, brought them to the place that they are right now, either you're going to be understanding, work with them, meet them where they're at, or the best thing to do, just separate yourself. Separate yourself. I mean, I mean, staying together would be pointless. It would be pointless. You could only hurt each other more by staying in a place where no one is happy. You're passing judgment on them. At that point, they're probably passing judgment on you. What are you doing? Really and truly, what are you doing? My recommendation. And truthfully, I don't like those type of recommendations. And I don't make those recommendations per se, but it may be best that you consider what would make the relationship more palatable. And if that means that you need to uncouple, then make the best decision for the greatest good in that situation. Nobody deserves to be unhappy, but non judgmental in your attitude toward your partner's background, experiences, pain, reluctance, whatever it might be, the way they grew up, certain relationships with people outside of your relationship that you don't understand. It would be in your best interest to try, and try to understand that. And if you can't deal with it, gracefully bow out. Gracefully bow out. Last point, openness. Empathy and non judgmental attitudes require openness. Openness, open mindedness, being willing to, again, step outside of yourself. And there's nothing wrong with being selfish, but it has a place. And in this particular scenario, it's not the place. It's not the place at all. So being open minded in who you're with, being open minded and having an openness to talk about uncomfortable situations, no matter what it is, be willing to do so. Be willing to share uncomfortable experiences about yourself rather than hide them from your partner. That could take your relationship so far. Now, again, your partner may totally renege. They may decide this is not the person I want to be with. Well, great. Now the opportunity opens up for them to find the person that they truly want to be with. But ultimately, be open. Be willing to risk vulnerability. There's a lot we can learn in vulnerability. And just like forgiveness, you don't do it for the other person, you do it for yourself. Risk being vulnerable for yourself. Just like me doing this video, I risk being vulnerable for myself, not for, respectfully, not for you guys, because you're going to go about your day, whether you watch my video or don't watch my video. You're going to do what you need to do for your everyday routine, for the people you love, regardless of whether I fumble, mess up. It doesn't matter. Vulnerability is about you discovering that you are authentically, being you and loving you for being you, flaws and all, mistakes and all. Simple as that. Sure, people gonna laugh. They're gonna point out, ha 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 ha. That's my laugh. But people gonna laugh regardless People are going to make fun of you regardless, even the person who professes to love you. They're going to feel the way they feel. But are you, the individual who's being vulnerable, willing to take a chance? See, that's love. And again, another popular quote: you cannot love someone else until you love yourself. And on that note, I will close this out. If you found value in this video, please like, comment, subscribe, give me a thumbs up. How about yourself? How empathetic are you? How do you show up for your partner? Are you busy attempting to put their shoes on your feet? Or are you striving to understand the shoes that they're in and have been in non judgmentally and being open to discovering new things about them that you may or may not like? But love is the answer. Take care. I'll see you in the next video.